Vinicius Jr. has renewed his contract at Real Madrid. Not the news that Arsenal fans wanted to hear, but it looked pretty clear, especially from like last night and after the meeting. This is what the outcome would be, and unfortunately, it is going to be the case. You saw the earlier reports; you kind of knew it was going to happen. I was just waiting for the confirmation. And Real Madrid haven't confirmed it themselves, but I think it was Fabrizio Romano and then David Owen said, you can see the tweet here. Real Madrid, they've agreed. Vinicius, they've all agreed a contract for the player. I believe it's a 6-year deal. Obviously, Real Madrid were actually the ones who decided to raise their offer, and the Vinicius decided to accept. Breakthrough done. And obviously, at the end, you can see he was actually open to Arsenal. He would be open to coming to the club if he couldn't stay at Real Madrid. So, listen, what it tells you is that he always wanted to stay at Real Madrid, which I think we knew. It was just whether Real Madrid was going to raise their offer, Vinicius was going to lower his offer, and it seems like they finally met after like 18 months of negotiation stuff. You didn't really think it was going to happen, but they have finally reached a breakthrough, and obviously will be continuing with each other. Listen, very disappointed. Did not actually think it. I was kind of leaning towards them coming because obviously they're Arsenal buyers, but Real Madrid never really raised their offer. You kept hearing from the media and everybody that Real Madrid, this is their offer, that's that. They're not going to raise it. They've not raised it for Ronaldo. They let him left. They don't raise it for anybody. But they decided to raise it, which if I thought Vinicius were going to stay, I thought he'd lower his demands and just say, yeah, fine, I'll stay, whatever you want. But it was Real Madrid who said, no, fine, we'll give you what you want, essentially. We'll give you close to what you want. So, yeah, we had a better financial offer, but he obviously wanted to stay at Real Madrid, which has obviously caused a lot of people thinking different things. Listen, decision-wise, obviously, Arsenal fan, you're not really going to maybe hear the most neutral point of view, but even trying to look at it as unbiased as possible, I just don't see why Real Madrid was staying at is the best option for him. Yes, it's Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world, constantly winning Champions League, playing with like top players. That's great, and obviously it's big for him. But from an Arsenal point of view, if he came to Arsenal, you'd probably be the biggest signing the Premier League has ever seen. The views the Premier League get compared to the Liga, you'll get much more eyes on you week in, week out. You can listen. You'll probably be the biggest star in the Premier League as well. Him and Haaland definitely, will be right up there if he managed to come to the Prem. Imagine winning our first Champions League with Arsenal as well. Like, yes, if you win it at Real Madrid, you just kind of go down as another name. Winning your first one with Arsenal, you can go down as a legend and get your statue outside. In my opinion, you'd be the superstar of Arsenal. You'd be straight away probably the best player in the team and most exciting player, the player everybody has their eyes on. You'd be our superstar. And I think as Ballon d'Or, he's always wanted to win the Ballon d'Or. I think he has that much more chance at Arsenal than Real Madrid, because if he was to have success at Arsenal, win the Premier League, win the Champions League, he'd probably be our best performer and he could be right up there. Whereas at Real Madrid, if they were to be successful, I don't think he's going to be outperforming or be getting more credit ahead of the likes of Bellingham or Mbappe, and he's always going to be playing third fiddle to those two. So, from like that point of view, I thought he would have came. I don't really understand, to be honest, him staying at Real Madrid because, yes, again, it's Real Madrid, but yes, you've won everything. You've won the Liga. You've won the Champions League a few times. You've done everything you need to there. You're playing under a manager who's just not it anymore. We all know Mourinho is not it anymore. It's a very unbalanced team, in my opinion. I think, even from Real Madrid's perspective, I think you need to be separating Vini and Mbappe. They've decided to not do that, which I'm not sure if that'll work, because it's clearly not worked. Looks like they're even missing out on Rodri as well. It's interesting, and even from a football point of view, I think we're a better team than Real Madrid. I think that should be common knowledge. We are a better team than Real Madrid as well, but it is what it is. Even from Madrid's point of view, you would think that Madrid, maybe get Rodri in, get rid of Vini. They're going to be getting more superstars in the future, like Elise and Haaland. You would think that from their point of view, they would be willing to get 150 million in and rebalance that team. So I don't know how this is going to look. Listen, maybe Vini and Mbappe will suddenly click. They'll all win Champions League and I'll look like an idiot. But I have a feeling that this move isn't going to work out for him. Again, I'm not just trying to say this just to be like, oh, you didn't come to Arsenal, I wish you the worst. Nah, I'm not trying to be salty here. I'm just looking at it from like a neutral point of view as much as I can. I just can't see him and Mbappe fully flowing. And I don't know if this is going to work out at Real Madrid, to be honest. I would not be surprised that in a year or two's time, Real Madrid still haven't accomplished what they want. Maybe they look to offload Vinny, and maybe the big teams aren't interested anymore. That could easily be the case, in my opinion. And I don't know. I think this is a massive missed opportunity for him. As I said, Real Madrid's great, but you're coming to a better team, in my opinion. You're going to be competing in the biggest league in the world. Do something new. Change the trajectory of the Premier League. Make a statement. It would have been incredible, man. But unfortunately, it's a boring move. But listen, it's his life, his choices. I thought it would be for best for all parties if this move went through, but it is what it is. And yeah, he's going to be staying at Real Madrid. Listen, I won't fault Arsenal. I won't be like, oh, why didn't you get them? It's PR just going for this. Listen, Arsenal, from all the reports, they offered him the best financial package, gave him 100% of the image right, willing to pay the transfer fee, willing to pay him his wages. Arsenal wanted to do this. They wanted to go all out in this, and I believe they really did everything they can. So I'm not going to look at Arsenal and be like, oh, you tricked the fans, you PR club, nothing like that. So yeah, I'm not really going to blame Arsenal for this, to be honest. I think they did everything they can. But now it's just about how did they move on now? You need to get over it. He's not coming to the club. Did he go after another natural left winger? Njai, Liao, Barcola, Rashford? I'm not really moved by any of these names, so me personally, I'm not really too arsed about going for another left winger just because the lack of quality on the market. I'd personally go for Julian Alvarez. I'd try to go for Julian Alvarez and maybe do something else with the left wing if Eze there. Maybe you can ignore that. It may be a big risk because, again, we want to upgrade that position. But in my opinion, I think the striker market, if you can get an Alvarez, that he's better than any left winger you can get. So, me personally, I go towards that direction, trying to get a Julian Alvarez. But it's up to Arsenal. How do they get? Don't just do nothing and get no one now. That's not an excuse. You tried for Vinny, unlucky. Not going to blame you for that. He's a brilliant superstar. You have to go for him if the opportunity is there and you did all you can. But what you do next now, that's a big thing. But yeah, unfortunately, Vinicius won't be coming to Arsenal. That dream is dead, and he's going to be staying at Real Madrid. So Arsenal must move on. And yeah, the Vinny dream is over, unfortunately.